Now we're going to start this at the HBO splash screen. Laura, if you want to give us a count.
Right from the beginning, and we'll do as usual, we'll do a 3, 2, 1, and we'll play on go. So,
Mm-hmm.
if everyone's ready, we're going to go on. 3, 2, 1, play.
HBO.
It is HBO. We love that.
We were opening up at. The problem with my office setup is I got so much reflection. It's hard for me to see my screen. But it's definitely nighttime.
Can I just check, Jason? I think we're getting. I feel like we're getting an echo. On.
I have my volume. My volume's turned all the way down, like for the show. I'm
I
running
think
on
it's
subtitles.
when we're like the stream itself, like when I'm.
Okay, right. Yeah. Get a little bit of Bonfire Annie
So
here.
if I speak.
Do we need to pause?
Sorry, I'm with you now. I'm with you now.
You with me now?
Yeah, I'm with you now. I'm sorry.
Okay,
It's all good.
that's okay. You've only missed Bonfire Annie exploding a opium shipment. Oh, there we go. The thing worked
It works.
from episode one. We're just gonna take five, talk it out. Oh, right. I remember. I love how much I love the end of this opening teaser. It's very cute. I'd find out a little bit of they've gone Melody and Bonfire and you've gone their separate ways. I mean, this is good because we're finding out that Annie's not she makes excuses, but she's not a stone cold killer. Right. Oh yeah, this is the one that has the really good payoff at the end, right? With Bonfire Annie.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's nice. It's a nice bookend to this episode. She's like, no, I'm not gonna join you guys. Uh, Pence is even cuter when she's high. Okay, I want to say this. I have a theory that there definitely is something more than friendship between Penance and Amalia. It may be one-sided, but there's a shot in the opening when they're in the car. The way that Amalia looks Penance up and down twice. Like that's arousal. But I like this here too. She's like, yeah, just run back and let me have a little snort.
She can't let her have all the fun.
But yeah, like right there earlier when she's like, if you when she's like looking at the ball, she's like, if you rub it, I'll grant you a wish. I'm like, that's obvious flirting.
Mm.
Now, once again, maybe one sided thing. That's fine. It doesn't have to be anything more. But it's just another dimension to the characters that kind of make them more real. So this I never. I mean, as we find out later, there's no longer a scar there that has a deeper meaning.
Mm-hmm.
As we won't even find it. But when I don't quite get the slapping herself, and maybe it's obvious, and I'm kind of stupid for not getting it.
Maybe it's you'd like wake yourself up out of a dream. It's
Oh
like a
yeah, yeah,
daily
that.
check for herself that like, oh yeah, this shit's actually, happening.
Hmm. Okay, I think this is the scene where she's a real bitch. Mm. Like it's good because it's that longing and everyone's hurting, and I think one of the things I do like about True is she doesn't like. I like the imperfect leader, the imperfect hero. So she fights, she drinks, she smokes, she gets hurt and lashes out. But also, this is very telling.
mm.
The so the thing, it's kind of this middle. It's hard to comment on anything 'cause it's all set up for later. Because we start, episode 1, 2, we've kind of established the broad strokes of the story.
She's like, you've given it a dull name. But it's like, she hasn't given it that name. That's what it is, because she's from the future where they exist. It is an amplifier.
It amplifies the sound.
It amplifies. She's like, damn it.
Yeah, there's another right in front of us the whole time. Another hint at Lucy
Yeah.
doing a little spying, but it's done in such a way that it doesn't look like she's just shooing someone away who shouldn't be
Yeah, totally
eavesdropping. It's
normal.
it's yeah, it's a whole thing. It's the showing without telegraphing.
Yes. That's funny she says, I'm not asking you to cut off your toes, which is what the other lady did for Melody.
Yeah.
That's mental.
See, there's another thing, like right there. That's like little tiny foreshadowing. She's like, I do like horses. She better end up on a horse by the end of the episode. Oh, Hugo. Classic Hugo. Oh, right. She just knows the time.
She knows the time. And he's like, he's so disappointed. He's like, oh.
That's the other thing. It's no question with Hugo. He's like, you audition all the girls and the boys. That's
Hugo enjoys all of life.
yeah, and it's good. Like he's like it's sometimes the word shameless is thrown about as a negative, but he is literally shameless in that Hugo knows who he is. He likes what he likes, and that's
I like to call that being a free spirit.
yeah. There you go.
Yeah, just a free
There you
spirit.
go.
Just likes what he likes, does what he does.
Yep. Okay, so yeah, so this brings back around this whole thing that Stephanie was asking on our last podcast, and I kind of get it. It's still very vague. He's like, you haven't invested money. The contracts are sealed, so no one's going to find out. It's like, well, then why?
Mm.
But it's and the question is whether they're going to. This might be one of the things they kind of whether they're going to drop it or continue it in the second half of the season. I mean, he clearly wants a partner in the thing. I get that. So I already filed the contracts. You get those contracts filed now.
Yeah. Just say no a lot. No.
Okay, so I got to be honest, whether it's just my hearing is so bad, I've repeatedly I've just tuned out of this scene every time it's come on. I don't recall the growling noise. Is it super apparent or super subtle when the telephone guy gets downstairs?
I think it's not too apparent. It's like in the background.
Mm-hmm.
But I would imagine if you have subtitles on, it says like growling
Mm-hmm.
noises or something. He's done.
You don't have to be like that, man. But if you want to be lonely and miserable, I guess that's your choice.
Is the wonder of like, are they showing us his deeper side and that, he's gone through stuff, he's lost people,
Mm-hmm.
and that might be that there will be a turning point in the future where, like I said, if that is his daughter and something happened to her and the touch can help, will he kind of like become a helpful hand for them?
Mm-hmm.
Or, I don't know, is he just on a downward spiral of being.
Yeah, I do feel. I mean, once again, the game's changed with new showrunners, but I feel like in a traditional Joss Whedon show, he would definitely become maybe not a friend, but a frenemy. And I feel like honestly, I feel like this is just an obligatory. We got to show how mean the bigger king is. but he's not that mean all the time.
I like how they introduce Odium again, and he's like, he'll take you for a walk across the Thames, and you're like, what
Mm-hmm.
do you mean, walk across the Thames?
Hmm.
And then obviously
Well,
later
that's
on
the
we
thing,
find
and
out, yeah.
that's more foreshadowing. Well done. Like I said, it's very the show is particularly good between dialogue and cutaways. Its use of foreshadowing is second to none. Nick Frost, just Nick Frost, man.
Yeah, it's good.
the okay, so the other cop here, I can't remember his name. He replied to one of our tweets several months ago.
Oh.
I cannot remember his name, and I can't remember what it was referenced to, but I think his thing's like, oh god, here. Oh right,
It's the
because
meeting set up.
the Hugo.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I remember like it's in this episode or later episode. It's like, well, guess I'm gonna go drink lunch. Yeah, like I don't know what happened. I've watched this show a number of times, but I always seem to somehow miss this scene.
You know.
My subtitles are indistinct chatter. But this whole area seems very dungeony, though, doesn't it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that in particular kind of gives me that vibe. And once again, this is that whole thing which we don't know yet. The general consensus is that there's that his daughter turned into something, but who knows what Maston's doing?
Sounded more like a
May,
like a weird
mhm.
creature noise as opposed to like a
Yeah,
generic growl. But it just looked like a single figure, like a shadow of a single.
yeah.
Who knows? Who knows, man?
Hmm. But that's the thing. Maybe his daughter is dead, but he's got something else he's experimenting on. Who knows? I mean, oh, here we go. That the signs come back.
This whole episode is very dark.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's very like
yeah,
there's lots and
yeah.
lots of dark
Not
places, and then
yeah,
obviously at the end we're gonna get the bright light
yeah.
and the song. So I don't know whether that's maybe to make that seem
Oh no,
everything
absolutely,
in this
absolutely.
episode is dark and dingy, and we're learning about
Yeah.
all this stuff, and then
Hmm.
ah,
Yes, and yeah, not just story wise, but visually wise. Even places like A Pint of Dark. But yeah, like this is the kind of that you need that gloom to.
here we see it like really working as it happens, and then
Yeah. A client who you're not remotely afraid of. These aren't the droids you're looking for. I do like the Colonel. Even though he's only cut a couple appearances, we got good, I don't know, charisma about him. I can't think of the right word. Once again, this is that whole thing. Like what they've done with Melody is she talks in riddles, so even I'd forgotten by episode 6 exactly the nature of this conversation. But she's like, Molly, we all go back a ways, etc., etc. I do love that. I do love that, like I said, just how professional everyone is and how they just go for it. And here's the reason I bring that up is because I do and have been involved in a lot of amateur and independent film. And one of the biggest failures on the performance side is a willingness to embrace your role and go all in.
Mm.
And yeah, like there's no doubt these people are inhabiting their characters.
Oh, for sure.
Is that Frank? You've had 3 already? Okay. Remember I asked about Maston's house, and in the way back in the pilot at the opening, it's number 3, but there were 3, and 3 was there 3 times.
Yeah.
He had 3 drinks. I'm wondering what I feel like 3 keeps coming up, and I'm wondering what relevance it has.
It's like a magic number. Something's gonna happen.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, did Swan just say what it took to arrange that raid on the orphanage?
Um. Did he say what?
Well, okay, I like I said it's because I'm doing some subtitles because we're the nature of how we're doing this, but it looked like he said, "Do you know what it cost to arrange that raid on the orphanage?" And Monday's
Oh.
like, "What did you think? What did you think I'd find there?" So it connects back to episode 2, and like someone from higher up did this. But remember, I was saying it felt really
Yeah, you
clumsy
weren't.
when.
They kept saying who had authorized it.
Mhm. But once again, the rewatching this the way we are, I feel I'm definitely seeing a bit more. Was I use the word clumsiness again, especially when it comes to Swan. In that his goals and the things he's wanting to achieve. There's no question about the actor and the performance. Well, that was a nice little touch. Just barely in the corner when he was talking about him having a lonely life, just that little handshake. Just what you're an actor, so these wonderful little actors' choices are these little ticks and nuance that make them feel real. So I did used to watch. Oh my God, what was the show? The fairy tale show. Um, what was it called? Amy Masson appeared in it for a bit. It had the woman who was in Bones. It had I can't remember anyone's names. British actor from the Full Monty, the skinny one,
Oh, well, Once Upon
Robert
a
something.
Time.
Once Upon a Time, yes.
Robert
I watched
Carlyle.
several. Yeah, Robert Carlyle. Thank you. I watched several episodes of that, but I never, or several seasons, but I never got to the point where Amy Masson appeared in it.
She played Merida, right?
I'll take your word for it because I
I
didn't get
think
that far.
I think she
But
plays
she
Merida
had an
from
arrow.
Brave.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I only watched the first season of that show.
Hmm. Jennifer Morrison was the lead.
Oh
Jennifer
yes, from
Morrison.
House. Yes.
Yeah.
Whose name, funny enough, is I think Emily Swan in the show.
Is it?
In Once Upon a Time, I think she's called Emily Swan or something.
Oh,
Something
nice.
Swan. Emma Swan.
He's like, don't scratch at it. She's like,
She's like.
okay. So I gotta be honest. I don't quite understand this guy in that. Okay, so is that supposed to be his blood? Is it caustic, like sizzling? Is it caustic? Like having a turn doesn't mean developing a steel gun that a Gatling gun that attaches to your arm. Someone had to make that.
Yeah, his
Someone had
thing
to.
is that his blood just hardens into bullet-like pellets, and someone's who has
Okay.
seen that and thought, that could become a good weapon, and yeah, done that to him.
Okay. Right. Okay. Now it makes sense. I guess I
So is
missed
that
that.
um because this is where I started getting confused with the show because I was
Hmm.
like, is it Lavinia and the doctor that did that to him and asked
Yeah.
him to go to the park? But then we learn later on in the next episode or whatever that it was Masson that ordered,
Yeah.
right? So
So
then I'm like, so it
yeah.
was
So
Masson who freed the gunman. But
yeah.
obviously the gunman was working with Malady, so it seems like no one had a link with
Yeah.
him before he was imprisoned.
Yeah.
Only Malady.
Hmm.
So I don't know who would have done the thing to his arm because it doesn't seem like anyone with Malady
Hmm.
has that expertise.
Yeah. Oh, open hand slap. And this is where we get a really good look at these guys here. It's super quick. And that's why I was like, Haig's the general from the future. It was just kind of one more thing. It's like, okay, that this is like Penance is smart, but this feels like having advanced knowledge in reverse engineering versus
Yep.
having ideas and building. You got money, not from so where'd you get money, Lucy?
See, she's gathering all this information, and then she just asked if that test is in the park is still going ahead, because she's
Mm-hmm.
about to go and tell that information
Yeah.
to Nassan. Oh,
That's a little Once again, I feel like that's a little bit foreshadowing there. Like, oh, Malady was packed up and sent to Australia. Not this episode, but they're gonna put Lucy on a boat to somewhere. I feel bad for Monday. That's 1899. Monday character actually reminds me of Russell Crowe's character from LA Confidential. If it's an older, it was 1996. It was made, so
hmm.
if you haven't seen it, I'm not surprised. It's basically a cop thriller set in early 50s LA, and Russell Crowe's character is basically a head smasher.
Okay.
But he wants to be a real detective. Like he's a detective, but he's not a real detective. And he wants to be. And part of his journey is, he does become one in a sense. But I very very much like Monday because even though Monday we haven't shown him busting heads, we've had multiple people talk about who
Yeah.
he was. And I like that he's much smarter than just a thug. Okay, so we can't read that, but as you said, they've put their plan in motion with Gatling gun arm. Yeah, because obviously Lavinia owns the house, but it's going to be under someone else's name or a shell company or whatever.
See, and this is where I got puzzled as well, because she tells Lavinia also. Lavinia knew it was happening in the park. Massa knew it was going down.
Mm-hmm.
This is the point where for me as a viewer, I got slightly muddled in who's pulling the strings, who's doing what.
Yeah. And I do feel that was intentional because we haven't got the full picture yet. We've had hints, so we know that Lavinia is working both sides. Masson's got a spy, so he's used a touched to kill a touched. That's why the conversation with employed versus employed and boss and all that was actually even more important in episode 1, because Lavinia's the boss on both sides. Not in Masson's affairs, but with, the Haig and whatnot, and True and. Well, this is good too, because I do like this, because it's a. We need to further reveal just how vilified the touched are.
Yeah.
So we don't find about Lucy, because she killed her daughter on purpose. Lucy accidentally killed her child.
Yeah,
and there we go. That's, yeah. I want to show you something right there. This is the first of 2 times Lucy has touched someone ungloved. Penance grabbed her hands. It's a signal, like an audience signal, that there is a level of control, even if you don't know you have it.
Yeah. Myrtle, like, without hesitation, is like Monday. Like,
Yeah.
like she knows they. I don't know. He's gonna join them and play an important part in the future.
Yes.
She's joined the cause.
Mm-hmm.
Ah, what a picturesque scene. What could possibly go wrong now?
Oh, there's Beth.
Yep.
I did think I like with this fight. It actually, gloves again. Um, it actually makes me think of Star Trek 2. At the end, when they're fighting Khan and Nebula, they're like, he's smart, but his pattern indicates 2-dimensional thinking, like working on one plane. But they're in space, so they can go up and down, left and right, and whatnot. And I like that she basically does that here. She's like, oh, he can walk on water, but I can.
Yep. Yeah, I like the whole unexpected knock straight into the river. And then obviously
Yeah.
we see him come down and just walk straight on the water, and you're like, oh, okay.
Hmm.
Now the walk across the Thames makes sense.
Hmm.
The way
Yeah,
they've
that's
made
what I
it
said.
look is really good as well. They've done a
Yep.
really good job with the special effects there.
Oh, exactly. But here's the thing: water is a big part of this, like the show in general.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and once again, its little connections are kind of made or anything, especially at the end, the last the final vision. Like when I say that I believe someone is someone else and whatnot, it's just little visual cues because when she has the vision, when the Galanthe fucking mind dumps
Yep.
on her, right? There's an image of Hugo thrashing around underwater. He talks how his brother drowned. Water can't touch this guy. Um, the other lady, her daughter talked about water and she drowned or whatnot. It's an important element, and I guess I'm going to say how things work.
Yeah, then as soon as he starts putting the chain down, I was like, come on,
Hmm.
she's gonna turn this around,
Yeah.
grapple him, pull him down because he can't get through the water.
Hmm.
Because it's one of those things of like, it's not a superpower that you can turn on and off. It's like he
Hmm.
cannot physically get in water,
Yeah.
which is why in episode one, uh,
Hmm.
the Beggar King
You
says that
cannot
he's smelly because you cannot get that. Yeah, he says you
get
cannot
that.
get this man in a bath, not because he's
Yeah. The,
large, but
the
because he cannot
yeah
physically
the
get into water.
yeah the double speak is brilliant.
Mm.
And here she goes like, oh,
The dress
I'm gonna
goes
trick
again.
you. Yep.
She's always losing her skin.
Hmm. Thanks for the lift.
So good. You know, this comes from years and years of fighting, however many
Yep.
enemies and in whatever situations.
And just to imagine this scene, like to visualize it and then turn it into reality is which is one of the best things
Mm.
about visual entertainment is you put a bunch of smart people on the job and this is what they come up with.
I find it interesting that after he's dead,
Oh.
he still doesn't sink, or do we see him sink?
Mhm. the Is he dead or is he just unconscious? Do we see him again?
This is my thing. I'd like to think he's dead, but in my head, I'm thinking if he were dead, I feel
Mhm.
like his turn would disappear and he would sink.
Yeah. Oh, look at that. Look who's riding the horse.
Because she does genuinely like horses,
Mhm.
but hates dresses.
Yeah, I really do adore horses too.
Everyone's transfixed.
Mhm.
Ah, so
Yeah.
beautiful. And then wait for it. Obviously, Mundy doesn't hear anything.
Yeah.
What is that shot from the trailer?
Yeah.
Metal space.
Hmm.
Like,
And that's the thing. Like I said, it's said Myrtle's done so well, but it's not apparent, but it is. You
yeah,
know that because she's not the same reaction as everyone else.
yeah. She's like, the fuck? Like, what's going on? What is
Hmm.
this? Oh no.
Yeah.
They went pretty hardcore on the brutality of
Hmm.
this.
Hmm.
Myrtle's reaction as well is like,
Hmm.
because she's only known these people for like a week or
Hmm.
however long it's been.
8 to the chest. Jesus.
And then with Lucy's reaction, it's like, is she putting that on to cover for herself? Because she knew something was going to happen, right? Or did she not
Hmm.
realize
I,
that that
I
was going to happen?
I don't think she realized that was going to happen.
Mm,
So her reaction isn't just about Mary getting killed. It's her part in, as we'll
yeah.
find out, her part in allowing that to happen. Because once again, we talked about thematically, hope is an important part of this, and that's essentially what the Galanthi song gives them. And imagine taking part, having a major part in taking that away.
Yep.
So, and this is why, so when we talk about, story structure and whatnot, we're episode 3 of 6. This is the midpoint where the midpoint you either win or lose. They've lost, but then it's a defeat, but there's still hope at the end, especially um, with her Statue of Liberty stance here at the end.
Mm.
Like that is literally an iconic image. Give me you're tired, you're poor, you're wretched masses.
Well, I feel like the first look is like, oh, come on, not another person coming to fight me. And then it's like,
Hmm.
all these people to join us.
Hmm. And there we go. We end on
Oh, yeah,
we we
emotional.
we, we end on an emotional but hopeful note because you were still able to, even in the short time, you were still able to reach so many people.
Yeah, it's kind of like, obviously they're distraught because Mary's just been killed. But it's the,
Mm.
oh, even in that short time that she sang, all these people heard and all these people have come to
Hmm.
us. And yeah, it was good.
It was good, but you're right though. It's the episode is fundamentally dark as it needs to be
Yeah,
because and once again when we come back to storytelling structure, this is the point where you know this is your empire. This is your Empire Strikes Back. You know, it feels like you've lost the most important piece, but you haven't, and now you can find the resolve to be more active and less reactive, as we'll see for the next 3 episodes.
yeah. I think just thinking about the next 3 episodes now and
Hmm.
what happens in each.
Yeah.
Again, I feel like I don't know. They intertwine
Hmm.
so nicely that it's
Yeah.
hard to just think, oh, that's the episode where this happens. Like, I think this episode, yeah, that's the one where she gets shot at the end. But I kind of forgot about the Odium fight. I forgot about,
Yeah.
um, well, a lot of the bits, really.
Yeah.
But this
Yeah. Well.
again was similar to the last episode. It was a lot of like chunky little bits, wasn't it? It was like
Yeah.
Ferryman's Club. Well, first we had like the orphanage with the little fight, and then
Mm-hmm.
we had the Ferryman's Club. We learned more about Mundy and Swan.
Mm-hmm.
You know, obviously all the Mary stuff. Then we had them finding the fake orphanage help place, and then
Yeah.
obviously, yeah, Mary shooting at the end.
Mm-hmm.
So it was lots and
Yeah.
lots of us, but yeah, I think all of those things were very dark. We get this sharp brining light at the end, and it's taken away. And the very end is dark, still with that glimmer
Mm-hmm.
of light from
Yeah. Yeah.
Nan,
You need something
Nanny.
to stay engaged and keep moving forward. But no, it's good, and I feel like the girl who could tell time was one of the front one of
She
the people at
was,
the front
yeah.
of the crowd.
She obviously didn't get the job.
Yeah.
Augie was like, no, and he
Yeah,
meant
exactly. Yeah.
it. Yeah. She's like, I don't know what to do now. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
let's go there.
Mm-hmm.
We'll join forces there.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's interesting because we know that well, we won't find out for another episode or two. Lucy, I'm assuming they both happen in episode 4 because Lucy only went with Masson because he promised her a cure,
Yes.
and Lavinia is doing the bad stuff with Haig because she wants to find a cure, because she literally said, she says it was silly of us to try to find a cure or whatnot. And it's be interesting to see how in the second half of the season how all these pieces fall into place of, you know, good and bad, etc., etc. Who's gonna band together and who's not.
Well, it's funny in this episode we kind of see Hugo's distaste for the orphanage.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's kind of like not sure that they have their best interests in mind.
Mm-hmm.
He's kind of like, it seems a bit shady, which is funny considering what Hugo's doing. Like,
Yeah.
he thinks the orphanage and True is
Yeah.
a bit shady. But yeah, I think
I do feel like from the businessman side is that as long as they have somewhere to go, he can't exploit them in his club, though. I think that there's an unspoken element of that.
yeah, they could be his. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
But I do think that it is mainly there, the Ferryman's Club, filled with Touched, that when the call comes, they will become more soldiers for the calling. But it's interesting how some of the turns seem kind of useless or unhelpful.
Yeah.
If the Galanthy have given people these powers to try and change the future and make the world a better place, why have some people kind of got useless abilities, or seemingly useless?
Seemingly,
they may have a better cause. I don't know. But
yeah, it's I mean, fundamentally, it's giving power to the powerless, because we know that from the beginning.
Yeah, and we know that it's people seem to have turns that relate to their inner strengths, or something that would help them overcome something in their own life. But
it's
like Myrtle's powers really, really great. Being able to speak every language and understand every language is fantastic. If you could also knowingly speak all those languages, but she just
Hmm.
speaks, and it comes out in a vast array of
Well,
languages that she's not controlling.
hmm well, that comes back to the whole thing is whether it's actually Myrtle or half Myrtle or I haven't quite figured out the exactly what it is, but I mean, I don't want to say the Galanthi's controlling her like a puppet, but I feel like there's an aspect to of that.
Right, yeah.
But
Interesting.
we'll see.
We'll see.
Eventually. But
But I think.
yeah, no, it's
Sorry, go on.
oh, so it with episode 2 and 3, it's really hard to discuss a lot of things because it's all set up. Because now, so once again, now we're in the middle of the first half of the season, so all the pieces are set up now. We understand the characters and what they're about. So now, 4, 5, and 6 is when it really starts happening because we know who the characters are, we know where they stand, and they're now going to take action instead of as just reacting to the things that are happening to them. So it's a fun part of the story because we're getting an understanding of the world, but as far as real forward momentum, there's not a lot.
Yeah. And then in the next half, we just have
Yeah,
everything's full on. It's great.
yeah, and it's so weird, especially when you get to episode 6, because much like a lot of people, I was like, "Am I watching the wrong show? Did they upload the wrong show?"
Yeah, I did that. I was on my phone because I was out, and I was like, oh, I don't want to wait. I'm going to watch it. And
Hmm.
I went on like the app. I clicked on it. 100% sure I clicked on the Nevers, and then it started, and I was like, is
This
this?
is.
I thought to myself, it could totally be, but I went
Hmm.
back
Well, yeah,
anyway and
exactly.
double checked that I'd clicked on the right thing, because it was
Hmm.
kind of like, what? And my mum said the same thing. She was like, I put it on, and I'm like, what's this? What's this? And she was already, I think, not fully following the show, but as soon as there's anything to do with time travel or jumping, like a non-linear timeline in a film or whatever, she's like, she will cease to understand it. But then I don't know, like my mum doesn't understand the Matrix to this day, and but she's
Right.
like, oh, I don't mind. I'll watch it for the action. It's good. She can watch it and enjoy it even though she doesn't understand it. We've explained it
Oh,
to her
that's
many times. The Matrix is not that complicated. There are much more complicated films.
the one thing. Once again, this is jumping ahead. Episode 6. I think the what really caught me about once again about the show as a whole, but episode 6 really got me is the efficiency of storytelling, and especially part two in episode 6, because they're only like the sections are only like 15, 20 minutes long,
Mm-hmm.
and the Molly section really got me. Seeing this young bright woman see the world essentially destroy her,
Yeah.
and the timing is perfect because I was already into Amalia leading up to that. Like, there's an interesting character who I can get behind. Then to see the backstory of the person who came before, it just breaks your heart.
Yeah. Yeah. It's yeah. I don't know. It was bad. I was kind of like,
Hmm.
I don't know what I was expecting, but
Hmm.
yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
so I mean, definitely
Molly's
for me,
story was
tragic.
so tragic.
Yeah,
And
especially when the baker lady's like, "Oh, he doesn't have any money. You don't want to marry him." Then, like years later, she's like, "I always said you should have married that guy."
yes, it's like, because what could have been, you know?
Yeah.
It's that decisive moment, and I guess that kind of plays into a show that's about changing the future or whatever.
Hmm.
that one moment, like if she had gone in that direction, gone out with him, her life would have been completely different.
Well, exactly, because I
You
mean,
know, and she wouldn't
like
have been down that alleyway.
like the butcher didn't end up like, oh, go with him. He has money, but he doesn't really have any money. He has fake money. Like, you leverage himself to the hilt, and it's a whole thing. It's I don't think you would have been any less happy if you were poor with what's his name versus living with that guy and his mother who won't die.
Yeah, it's.
And, and he's such a, and he was just so offensive. But okay, so I'm confused. So he was a butcher, but he wasn't the same guy in the bakery at the beginning, was he?
I thought that was him. Is he
So
not the
was he a baker?
I think he's
Is
a
he a
baker.
baker or a butcher? Okay, I thought he was a butcher.
I'm confused now. We'll see clearly
Exactly.
when we get to episode 6 again.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then does she
But
have
yeah,
her
so
memories?
okay, so she doesn't, up until episode 6, she doesn't have Molly's
Molly's
memories.
memories, yeah.
But when she gets the brain dump, you see a bunch of Molly's memories. So I feel like on the Galanthus part, that was intentional. I need you to be who you are and climatize to this era before, you can unlock this special content. Like
Download
it
the
kind of feels that
DLC.
way. Like it's and that's why I come back to why I think that, certain characters are their future selves. Because the argument is like, well, how does Hugo have his memories? I'm like, because Hugo didn't have to wait to get, like, Biner didn't have to wait to get Hugo's memories. If you know what I mean. Okay, so Amalia doesn't have Molly's memory. Sorry, give me a second. What's her real name? Zephyr did not get Amalia's memories when she was sent to the past.
Okay.
But we know from the montage in episode 6, she then gets those memories, or at least a portion of them. But I think all the other ones, they're less important. They were just brought back to the past to save them from dying in the future. So they got a true melding of person when they ended up in the other bodies. So Hugo is Biner, but Biner has all of Hugo's memories.
Do you? I'm just wondering. Did they say in episode 1 when they're talking about his brother who drowned?
Mm-hmm.
Do they say how long ago that was?
They did not.
Because if the flashback that we see in 6 is Hugo in the water and it's during the moment that his brother drowned,
mm-hmm.
and he would have drowned and died too, same way as Molly,
mm-hmm.
and that's when he gets transferred, then that makes sense that he is not him. What?
Yeah. Given that we saw Hugo underwater look like he was struggling, that's where the theory first formed based on what happened with Zephyr and Amalia.
I'm just wondering any of the other characters, whether they were near death as well and why.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like I said, we'll wait to find out. But as it stands, I believe that Hugo is Biner, Haig is the general, the Beggar King is the betrayer.
Mm-hmm.
Boot was, I think, he was his title. But that leaves Crescent, which we haven't seen any indication of at all.
But when we're talking about parallels between characters, the lady that goes into the lab with Zephyr in the future,
mm-hmm.
What was her name?
Yep. I don't remember.
Was there someone called who was Stripe?
What's that?
Stripe? Well, no, they are
Stripe.
Stripes.
No. Yeah, no, yeah. Zephyr was a stripe.
That's what they are. Yeah, I can't remember her name
Yeah.
because she was the one that you kind of think, oh, she was very Penance in character.
Yeah.
You know, had that same just kind of wants to see the best in
Hmm.
everybody, and
Yeah.
yeah, I'm gonna have a look quickly.
So who is still alive? Crescent, Biner, True, the General, and I'm pretty sure Boot. I can account for four of them in my thinking. And like I said, it's my belief that Beggar King as Boot is tenuous at best. It's more just the eyes, just the crazy eyes.
Nitta, her name is Nitta.
Knitter, yes, because she was a doctor.
It's funny that on
Or,
the credits on IMDb, Claudia Black is
mhm.
listed as Stripe
Okay,
because that was her name that they were calling her, and it wasn't until
yeah. Till she tells
she
Penance her
tells
name, right?
Penance her name. Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, which is the like ultimate sign of trust. And you're
Yeah.
right, like for me, like there is no love like Penance and Amalia. They are they are just power
Hmm.
couple.
Yeah.
But
100%.
it's not like not necessarily fully platonic, but not necessarily they're
Yeah.
ever going to get together. It's not like it's just that they
Hmm.
love each other more than anything in the world, and they support each other and they
Yeah.
trust each other, and it's beautiful.
It really is. It really is. And like I said, it's very well played and
Yeah.
very subtle and mostly done through performance.
Oh, 100%. Like you were saying about the actors' choices, the
Hmm.
the the slight looks and just
Hmm.
gestures that you wouldn't necessarily pick up on, like build the characters so well.
Hmm.
They're all, like I said last week, they're all so natural.
Yes.
Yeah,
Very.
every performance is so subtle and so real in a show that's totally out there and weird and crazy and like, do you know what I mean? It's a
and
really
I
nice
and I
balance.
love it.
Yeah, we love it. We love it.
The Yeah, if on my Instagram, my Jason Marshall Instagram, it's quite a ways down, but I actually took the video from episode one where True gives that look after they escape from the bad guys when they jump their little car to the back of the carriage.
Ah.
And I'm like, it's not super overt, but if you see it, you can't unsee it. I'm like, that's in flirting, you tend to look the other person up and down to take in who they are. And that combined with the if you rub the lamp, I'll give you a wish. I'm like, there is at least an attraction on one side beyond the 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 relationship the two characters have. And but instead it's played just so subtly because we know from when we see Zephyr's future, she was married to they were a throuple. And I'm like, yeah, so I mean, because at the end of the day, who gives a shit who you're who you're with? I can knock yourself out. If anyone thinks it's their business, they can piss right off.
Be a
Um,
free spirit like Hugo.
yeah, yeah,
Everyone.
exactly. So yeah, that's why. So for to see Amalia express that makes sense because of where she comes from. But anyone else, with the exception of Hugo, because of 1899 social pressures, are going to keep that shit under wraps lest they go to jail.
Yeah, I think yeah, like everything in this show is like really really natural even though it's back in that time, and obviously the only attention drawn to any relationship issues is through Mundy's storyline.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And that makes sense because of
Yeah, and
who
not
he
not
is.
only because of the timing, but because of his position.
Yeah,
If he's always been seen as this, hard hardened man who's a fighter and then has become a police officer,
yeah,
and that's his this figurehead, like for him it's like even if it was socially acceptable, it would be like he would feel like it would take away all of that, all of
yeah,
what he is to everybody in everyone else's perception, of
yeah,
what he is. But it's nice, like that little interaction we got in this episode with Mary. Just
yeah,
you know,
yeah. Because clearly, even if he didn't say it, Mary always knew.
yeah, and she, as hard as it was for her, she still cares about
Mm,
him,
yeah,
and they're friends, and or they would have had a nice relationship going forward. I feel if
yeah.
if
Well,
she were
that's
not
it's that
just
whole
killed.
thing. Yeah, that's the whole and that's the whole thing. You can love someone without being in love with someone, and that's
Yeah, but I
and
think
that's
that so
it's
many
the
TV
big.
shows get that wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So many TV shows draw so much attention to the like will they won't they and the relationships happening
Yeah.
within the show that there's never ever a chance for it to just be like these people are friends and they love each other, and even if
Mm-hmm.
something ever did happen in the future, we're not questioning it constantly. We're not
Yeah.
like I'm happy to see all these interactions without going, oh, because of that little thing, they're definitely going to get it on later, or do you know what I mean? It's not
Yeah.
like they're not making a thing of it, and it's really nice. Everything's just really natural, because
Most that.
even in today's times, it's still like a common thing. I don't know what it's like. In England, it's like people are like, oh, you can't be friend with someone of the opposite sex because, like, it makes
Yeah.
people in a relationship
Well,
like
you're gonna.
not uncomfortable,
You.
insecure,
Yeah. So.
because
You know,
and it's
yeah.
like,
Hey.
don't be ridiculous. Like, what is this? Why why? I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just
I mean, yeah. I get there are absolutely some people who can't be friends, who can't be just friends with the opposite sex. But I think by and large, that's not the case.
I just think that I don't enjoy shows like Friends where like the majority of the storylines revolve around whether two of the characters are going to get together or not, or any
Mm-hmm.
any show that's got that whole like will they won't they thing. Because I'm like, if you're relying on that and not the actual characters themselves and any
Mm-hmm.
character development and an actual storyline, then it's like too much. I feel like any relationships that will or will not happen in this show will have no grander impact on the story. Do you know what I mean? Like if Penance and Augie get together, yeah, that would be nice because we've seen that they're clearly interested
Yeah.
in each other. But it won't be like
No. Yeah.
it won't be a
Exactly.
pivotal thing in the show. It won't affect anything. It will not be the
Mm-hmm.
importance. It will just be like, oh, that's nice for them. They're cute. Moving on.
Yeah.
Stuff's happening. Like, which is good.
Yeah. Exactly. When you build on that, well, it's that we've seen it time and time again. Sitcoms in particular, when you build a show around will they, won't they, when they will, the show dies
Yeah. Is
because
Lost was like it, wasn't it? With like the main Evangeline
I
Lilly
don't know.
and Matthew Fox.
I watched like 5 episodes of Lost before I tuned out.
Yeah, I think I finished season one like when it first originally aired, and then I gave up
Hmm.
because I was like, wow, end of the first season, cliffhanger, no answers, I'm done.
Hmm.
I like getting at
Yeah,
least some answers, so I know that the writers have a general direction, and I'm not just being pulled along for the ride. Um,
yeah.
uh, yeah, it just frustrates me if I think that the writers have absolutely no idea where they're going.
Yeah. That's from what I read. That definitely seemed to be the case with Lost.
And then
Well,
they get to the
because it was
end.
more like, yeah, because it was more like, what if this? What if this? What if this? But no, yeah. But there's also shows that end like that seem to have a natural conclusion, like Altered Carbon. I watched the first season of Altered Carbon, and it wrapped up, And then they announced season 2. I'm like, I like Anthony Mackie, but I don't think I'm going to come back because I've already watched the story, and you didn't set up enough about an expanded universe for me to be interested to come back to see other people's stories.
Right. Yeah, I never
No,
started
don't
Altered
get.
Carbon because I know it has.
Mhm.
It's like Dollhouse, right? Similar.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, the
Yeah.
same kind of idea. You can swap out
And I think
your
in my
conscious.
brain I was
Like
just like, I'm just gonna watch Dollhouse again.
I do think that Altered Carbon has a better condensed individual story of trying to solve murder.
Right. Okay.
And yeah, so that's so it's a more confined it's a more confined tale. So yeah, I'm definitely into that. Because Dollhouse also came from that era of 22 episode seasons where 7 to 10 of them are filler.
Yes, lots of filler.
And same thing, like it's we've talked about this before. I'm a huge Star Trek fan, but I will tell you that people today who are like, that's not, they talk about Discovery or Picard. Like, I don't like Picard. I don't think it's a very good show. But they're like, that's not Star Trek. I'm like, you have rose-colored glasses on in past Star Trek, because like 50% of past Star Trek is awful.
Yeah, that's how I feel about Star Wars.
Yeah.
Everyone thinks Star Wars is better than it actually is. The idea of Star Wars is better than Star Wars actually
Yeah.
is, and yeah. So Jack says that he thinks about watching Dollhouse again. But that's that's greater than actually watching it again.
The I don't know, Laura. Do you think we should, since we don't know how long it's going to take to get back to Never, should we do Dollhouse?
I wouldn't mind doing like a few episodes talking about Dollhouse, like
Mm.
season by season, or like a
I was about to
discussion on the
say that.
season. I wouldn't do like a discussion per episode,
Mm-hmm.
because I think that there's too many episodes when they don't really play into the overall
Right.
arc, and we'd just kind of be
Mm-hmm.
discussing an episode that,
Oh,
oh, that was an episode where some guy shot her with some arrows, and yeah, like
yeah, yeah, I could get on board with that,
But I would
because then
100% do a discussion, yeah, about like season one, like a couple hour discussion about that, and then like a season two.
yep.
Season two, oh my days, like, but because I do love it, but yeah, because I rewatched it
There's only,
last
there,
year, so
there's only 2 seasons,
just the two
right?
seasons, yeah. So
Yep.
we could do a season one discussion and a season two discussion, and then
Mm-hmm.
also I think we mentioned Doctor Horrible before.
Yep.
Doctor Horrible, we
Oh,
can
we should.
100% do a live watch. I feel.
Oh, absolutely. It's like what, 40 minutes long.
Yeah, it's like 40 minutes. We could even do like uh the commentary as well, because
Yep.
watching it with the commentary is like a
Right.
whole different
Because I
ride.
haven't. Yeah. Yes. You and Chirag told me about that, but I haven't got to it yet. There's never enough time.
There's never enough
There's
time.
never enough time to do things.
But yeah, no, yeah, Dollhouse. It's one of my all-time favorite shows. It's one that I will always
The
rewatch.
are either of those on Prime? Because if either of those are on Prime, we can actually
Oh,
show
do a
them
watch
through
party, yeah.
Twitch.
Oh, you can actually show them because they're Prime.
My understanding is, Eric. 'Cause I was talking to Erin about that, and she said that if it's on, because Amazon owns Twitch,
Yeah, yeah.
so the licensing would extend to that.
Oh, we will have to look
Let,
into
let,
that because it would be good to
let's
be able to show it.
yes, let's you and me talk about that and figure that out, and just tell Matthew we're doing this whether he likes it or not.
Honestly, if we think that we're not going to get the Nevers till winter, then it'd be nice to, yeah, we can fill some time before then.
Because yeah, I mean, leaving the podcast empty for so long is, you run the risk of people not coming back.
I think the troubling thing is like not having any information. Like if there was like they're not even posting like
something.
behind the scenes stuff from like here we are
Hmm.
filming this and here's so and so on set. Like I follow a couple of the actors and
Hmm.
very very tiny little kind of
Yeah,
tidbits we got.
but like nothing,
But
nothing,
yeah,
right?
so the fact that my thing is like the fact that HBO doesn't even seem to care about kind of promoting or
Hmm.
keeping their viewers interested about this show.
Well, and once again, it feels like such a weird contradiction of, okay, well, things went to shit, but we're gonna keep. We could have just canned the show after all these troubles, but they decided to continue with it. But you're not doing any promotion, so do you care about it or do you not care about it?
I mean, this is a big budget show. The the
Yeah.
budget on the wardrobe alone for this show must
Hmm.
be astronomical. The special effects were amazing. You know, this was the
Hmm.
next big thing from after Game of Thrones. And I know they're
Yeah.
doing the like prequel Game of Thrones thing, but after them getting the feedback from the Game of Thrones final season, I can't understand why they're making a Game of Thrones prequel. It's like the fans were not happy. Like maybe you should have
Yeah.
just put more effort into finishing the season than thinking about a prequel already.
Hmm.
Yeah, I really thought that they was going to push like beyond all the controversy because that like a lot of generic viewers that watch shows on Sky and HBO are not delving into anything that's going on behind the scenes. You know,
Hmm.
my mum's sitting and watching a TV show, a new show. She's not thinking about who made it or who did it and what's going on. She wants to sit down and watch a cool TV show,
Hmm.
which it is. And I thought that they would really, really, really push it.
Yeah,
But
it's so weird. It's just so weird.
yeah, I'm always happy to watch Dollhouse.
Yeah, listen, listen. I remember not being into it. Like, I watched the whole thing, but I was like, it's okay. Like, there's I've watched worse things, but watching it again now, it could be my opinion could change or it could not.
I think the thing is like when I just had season 1, I'd watched it and I think I then watched it with my friend Jack here.
Mhm.
I was like, you have to watch this show, and we watched it in like one night. Yeah, we watched Dollhouse, and then the second season come out, and after watching the second season, that's just phenomenal.
Mhm.
When you rewatch the first season, you like it. It makes it that much of a better experience because like you know where it's going. Like it doesn't spoil
Yeah,
it anyway. It makes it better because you're like, oh, I know where this is going, and you pick up on all these little
yeah,
things, and it is really good on the rewatch. Like I say, you just have to sit through a few episodes of it's this one again.
yeah.
Those fillers where you're just kind of like, and
I
then
mean, I will say this that my affinity for the show or not, there's no doubting the actors' abilities. Like hands down, you guys are excellent at your craft to weekly play a different character while also playing the same character.
what did we watch after the entire first season of Dollhouse? The entire first season of Big Bang Theory. What a Wild Ride. I think we did, yeah. Oh no, and then I
Hmm.
tried to get Jack to watch Eureka,
Okay.
and we watched like the first episode, and he was like, nah.
Mhm.
I was like, yeah, it's
You know
kind of
what?
cheesy.
I remember when Eureka was on. I remember the advertisements for it. I'm like, that is fucking stupid. But then my wife watched it later, and then I kind of I kind of got into it as it went on.
I loved it. I knew it was cheesy, and it was like, that level that I normally don't enjoy, but I loved it. Loved Fargo. Like, the whole show was great. I've still to this day not watched the last season or the last half season because they started
Oh yeah.
releasing them on DVD as like season 3 and season
Right.
3.5, and then I bought season 4.
Oh
I never
God,
ever bought season 4.5, and we didn't have it on
right.
television on any of our channels, so I had to wait and then watch it on DVD. I never bought it, and still to this day I've
I
never
don't.
finished it.
Well, the thing is, I don't remember. I don't remember a lot of it, but I remember that I eventually got into because it was shot in Canada, so there's a lot of character crossover from like Stargate and other shows. I'm like,
Right.
oh, I like that guy, and I like that girl. I like those people.
The whole thing was that when they first in the first episode, the father and the daughter drive into the town, they
Yeah,
see
and they.
themselves in a car driving out. And that's the
Mhm.
whole question for like what is going on in this town as a
Yeah.
whole. And I've never finished it, and I don't know if they answered it and what was going on. One day I'll sit
I
and I'll watch all of
I
Eureka. I've still got it on DVD. I've just never got that final season and actually.
yeah, I don't remember the details, but I do remember them leaving and bookending the first episode. I remember that. Bloop.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it ended up being a pretty fun show. Um, but it's like sometimes you gotta sit. I hate to say it. Sometimes you gotta sit through a couple of crap episodes to get to the good stuff, which is hard because when you don't have a lot of time as it is, losing 2 or 3 hours to get to something good that's a big ask.
Yeah, I genuinely don't do that now. I'm kind of like, if I'm not
Hmm.
interested in the first like half of an episode, I'm kind of done. Unless
Mm.
if I'm interested in enough in what I think is the overall story, then I'll stick around. But if I'm like, this storyline doesn't seem great and what it's about doesn't seem great, and also this episode itself wasn't great, I think what's the point of watching on? Unless I know someone that's like, but some people go to me, oh, you should watch this. Oh, the
Hmm.
first season's not great, but after that, and I'm like, I'm not going to sit and watch a whole season that's not
Hmm.
great. I used to have
Yeah.
people all the time be like, oh, have you seen this film? My sister
Well,
does
I'll
it.
tell you.
Have you seen this film? And
So
I'm
I
like, no, is it good? It's all right. Well, I'm not going to watch it then.
I've on my own. I've been rewatching Sequest. It is not a great show. It was never a great show, but it's a weird one because it's a show I like for what it could have been.
Right, yeah.
Season one was by far the best because it was science fiction rooted in reality.
Okay.
Then I've been watching season two, about 6 episodes in, and they made a shift. It's like way more sci-fi, and the submarines already traveled through time. They've deal with man-eating plants, aliens, and I'm like, this is fucking stupid. This is really, really like you guys screwed the pooch, but you had a wonderful concept, and that's what I like the show for. But would I recommend it to most people? No, not a chance. Especially season two.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of what shows I like watch knowing that they're kind of rubbish.
Oh, a second. What did Jack say? Do you know what we watched after the entire first season of Dollhouse? The entire first season of Big Bang Theory. What a wild ride. Oh,
This was back
my God,
in
you guys. Big
2009,
Bang Theory.
2010 when we was in college.
Oh, my God.
And
Have you ever watched Big Bang?
we only had like season 1 and 2 maybe then. Because that ran for like 10
What?
years up until like a couple years
Yeah.
ago, right?
Have you
I've watched it all.
have you watched it without the laugh track?
Oh God, no.
Where where people have gone in and taken the laugh track out? The show is not funny at all.
Oh, I'm sure it's a little funny.
But
But
sure,
that happens with anything.
but what's the laugh track serves a purpose. It tricks your brain, right? It's like, oh,
Yeah.
other people are laughing, so this must be funny. But when you remove it, it is so weird and awkward.
The thing
And I
is,
think
I mean, it's not just a laugh track. They are real people. They are. It is in front of
Mhm.
a live audience. Same with Friends, Roseanne, all that. But they do
Mhm.
obviously edit it all together
Yeah,
and make
so
sure it's
yeah,
good.
someone's got to be like you, hey, haha, laugh.
Yeah, because
Um,
they do the jokes more than once. If the joke doesn't
mhm.
land right, because sometimes,
Mhm.
especially with it, like some of the sciencey stuff they're saying, people in the audience probably don't even realize it's a
Mhm.
joke. So someone was saying that the
The
first, I don't know if it was Jack, said like the first season is a show for nerds,
mhm.
right? And then after that, it just becomes a show about nerds, like making fun of
Yeah,
nerds, as opposed to like, because
yeah.
that's when I was a kid and it first come out, I was like, oh, this is really cool, like scientists and like
Mhm.
just nerds getting on and having fun, and I was like, this is great. This is going to be a great show. I watched the first episode when it aired with my mum, and I loved it. And she said, "What a load of rubbish." Flash forward 5 years, it's become the hugest thing ever. I don't know, maybe like 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody loves it now, and my mum loves it. Loves it. Watches it whenever it's repeated. Absolutely loves it. And I'm like, I made you watch the pilot episode, the first episode, and you did not like it, and now suddenly
She's
you
like,
like it.
that's the way things go, Laura. That's just the way things go.
But I mean, it's kind of okay, and then they start introducing more characters, and all their characters in the show start becoming
Mhm.
douchebags. Like
Yeah,
Leonard
it's
cheats on
it.
one of his girlfriends, and I'm like, ah, oh, Leonard, mate, that's not cool. Because I've had a crush
Mhm.
on Johnny Galecki since I was like, a kid, and I grew up
Mhm.
watching Roseanne, and he was like my first crush, like
Yeah.
first real live actor crush was Johnny Galecki from Roseanne because he's just great. And
Mhm.
then yeah, I was like, oh man, dude, what are you doing? And they do
Yeah,
the
it's
same. I love Simon Helberg. I don't like what's her other
Jim
friend's
Parsons.
name?
Uh, there's whatever character Jim Parsons plays, and
Jim
the
Parsons.
East Indian.
Who? Kruthapalli? Kruthapalli? Is it Raj?
Okay, yep, yeah,
Yeah.
Raj. Yeah.
Oh, that guy! What a horrible character. He's a terrible character. He doesn't talk for the first however much
I,
of the show.
I mean, if you really take a critical look at once again, so I can't speak for the de-evolution of the show from season one to later seasons, but when you look at it, it's like Friends. They're all terrible people.
But he's the worst.
Mm-hmm.
Because
I
he's
said,
like,
and
they create this character who's kind of funny, he can't speak to women, he's
mm-hmm,
shy, he cannot speak in front of women, and that's
mm-hmm,
fine. But then they do the whole thing when he gets drunk, he can speak to women. And he can not only speak to women,
yeah,
but he's a dirtbag. What a horrible person.
yeah,
He's just horrible. And you're like, I instantly don't like this character now. And then later on he like
mm-hmm.
gets over his issue and he can speak to women all the time or whatever, and yeah, I don't know, they just create horrible characters. The nicest character in the show, funnily enough, becomes uh, Simon Helberg's character, whose name I've forgotten. And he's
Howard.
Howard, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Starts off as a sleazebag and becomes a really
Yeah.
good family dad.
Mm-hmm.
He's just, he's alright. And he's the best actor as well, by far.
I very much like Simon Helberg. Helberg.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Look, I like them when they play serious roles. Like Jim Parson was in oh my God, what was the NASA one? Hidden Figures.
I've still not got around to watching that.
Yeah, it's pretty good, but it's a white savior movie. Like it's fundamentally about the black women who were basically the math geniuses that allowed NASA to even fly
Mm.
to space. But then Kevin Costner comes in, he takes down the whites only bathroom sign, and he's the savior. It's like, stop telling racialized stories with a white savior. It detracts from the message you're trying to send.
Mm.
But yeah, Jim Parsons plays a vaguely racist coworker who comes around, and it's nice seeing him in a serious role versus
Nice seeing
the
him not
caricature.
be Jim Parsons. Well, not be
Yeah,
Sheldon.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, and not be Sheldon.
Yeah, it's tricky for actors once they get kind of like backed into that corner
Mm-hmm.
and start getting typecast for things. But yeah, I don't know. The general acting level on Big Bang Theory is not exactly great. It's yeah, I don't know. But when you're just watching like a comedy, it's not like too fussy. Like I can still
Yeah.
put on it if an episode comes on the telly. Like yeah, whatever, it can stay on.
Mm.
I really dislike
The
Friends.
I'm with you on there. Look, if you took out the gay panic jokes, 50% of the jokes in Friends would disappear like that.
I just find it. None of
But
the
saying that they're
characters are
awful.
that interesting.
They're all same thing. They're all awful people.
Yeah, they're all like self-absorbed. Everything in it is
Look,
about dating.
and look at this. This is why I like It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia so much, because they are unabashedly terrible people. There's no trying to put a shine on it. They constantly screw each other over, and they always get to come up at the end of the episode for being shitty people.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I've
no
tried to
friend.
watch Philadelphia and I failed. I just cannot get into it. I feel like it's one of those shows where you've got to have watched when it come out, otherwise you're just not going to get into it.
I hate to say it, you got to get through a few episodes to really find the gold. Um,
I watched Parks and Recreation.
oh, I love Parks and
I
Rec.
watched that from start to finish. I loved it. Loved
Yep,
it. Ron Swanson,
so good,
best
so
character, my favorite.
good. Yeah, yeah, but they did the same thing. They did the same thing with Leslie Knope between season 1 and 2. They did with Steve Carell in The Office. She was a bit too neurotic and whatnot, and they softened her character moving forward, much like Steve Carell. Steve Carell's character in The Office first season was basically just like a ripoff of Ricky Gervais.
Yeah.
But then 40-Year-Old Virgin came out, and everyone loved Steve Carell, so they had to change the character because he couldn't be that awful person anymore. And I think it saved the show.
I've not watched The Office, but I feel like in Parks and Recreation, Leslie, like, it's believable that her character would have changed because she's surrounded by the right people. She suddenly
Yep.
becomes surrounded by this exact, precise group of people, and
Mm-hmm.
it, like, helps her build. Even though she's, like, older, it's
Mm-hmm.
funny because they're, like, helping her in her ways. I really enjoyed the show. I thought it was good. My
Okay.
friend Jack actually thinks that I look like, and believe me, if you put a blonde wig on me, I am Leslie Knope.
Well,
And
why haven't you cosplayed as that yet?
do you know what? I did say to him before about going back to a Comic Con because I haven't been for years, and I thought, oh,
Well,
I
wait.
could so totally do Nope, yeah.
I've only got one question. Does Sean look like any Parks and Recreation characters? Because there you
Not
go.
really. Oh, he is bearded. He could be. Oh no, I could shave off and just leave. Does Ron
Mustache?
have like the mustache, isn't it?
No, it only comes it comes to the just upper lip
It's
mustache. It
just the
doesn't wrap
upper
around.
lip. Yeah, we could do that.
Give him the left part,
Yeah.
high comb over.
Uh,
All right, Sean. If you're watching, we've already planned your Halloween.
Cause yeah, a blonde wig. Because I have the same, I think, level of excitement, and like once I get started to talk about something, I get into that. Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's like I remember him telling me years ago, "Oh, you look like this person." I had no idea who he was talking about. I hadn't seen Parks and Recreation, like whatever. And then I finally watched it and was like, "Oh, I'm okay with this. She's great.
Mm-hmm.
She's
Oh
great."
yeah. But Amy Poehler and like her and Tina Fey are just so wonderful. They're so good at what they do. What's another message from Jack? Friends is aged like milk. And we were all complicit. We were all complicit weirdly at the time. I mean, yeah, I mean, it was the biggest thing everyone was talking about. It was so. I mean, I understand, but yeah, to look back at it, you're like, ooh,
Yeah. But so many
not
people
cool,
still
not
love
cool.
it. Sean loves it. Sean loves Friends. It's his favourite thing. Like, it's like if he's got nothing else to put on, he'll put on Friends and he'll still watch it and love it. And I walk in and I'm like, it's frustrating because it doesn't matter what episode I walk in at, because, like Jack's saying, we all watched it growing up. I've
Yeah,
seen every episode more than once because Channel 4 in the UK just used to run repeats constantly, like all day, every day.
right.
Friends was always on. So I know pretty much from memory, not like to just think off the top of my head, but if I walk in and he's watching it, I can say what's going to happen. Like I can quote it and say it. But also I think because of the writing, you know what the next line's going to be. You know what the punchline to that joke's going to be. It's very like, I think at the time everyone thought it was really smart and really on edge, and like now it's kind of like, was it? Was it really? I think it was actually not as great, as everybody thought it was. But
Yeah,
yeah,
it's all hindsight. I mean, because also I think a lot of those a lot of those jokes and that general shittiness was kind of allowed at the time.
Yes.
Well, so much for our talk about the Nevers.
Yeah, I feel like nobody had any questions, and we kind of
No.
talked about this episode
Well, it's our live stream, so we can talk about whatever we want to talk
whatever
about.
we want. And it's general TV. It all plays in because I always go, that show's not as good as The Nevers.
Right.
But
So many shows are not as good as the Nevers.
that's so true. They're so true. Yeah, no, I did genuinely enjoy it. The episode was good. My favourite moment was the fight, the Odium fight.
Yeah.
I think that's one of my favourite
Like
moments of the series.
That's a big set piece. It's hard to top that.
Fight scenes are one of the things that I've not enjoyed in many things that I watch for the past however many years.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen The Transporter with Jason Statham? Yeah. Okay. So that film's fantastic. Yeah. The fight scene with the axes in the hallway. It's filmed in a way where it's believable, and yeah, those fights are happening. I don't like watching TV shows and films now. All the fight scenes are filmed all like snappy, and you're not actually seeing a whole fight scene, and it's like the actors, you're not getting any payoff. You're not seeing it. It's not real. So to see a new show where it's like, whether it's a slap across the face or, they're full fisticuffs, it's great to see really good, well choreographed fight scenes that aren't afraid to actually show you the fight.
Yeah.
Instead of just
absolutely.
cutting to and from constantly. So yeah, refreshing. It's good.
Yeah, it's generally it's smart. It's been a bit clumsy in places, but still nowhere near as bad as many other TV shows. Star Trek Picard. It's awful. I'm sorry. I'm a Trek fan, but Picard is awful. It's bad storytelling. It's lazy storytelling.
But it's like the Star Wars thing. Like, Mandalorian was good.
Yep.
Mandalorian season 2 kind of bored me.
Really?
Yeah, I just felt like they were playing too much on season 1, and I feel like you need to do more to deserve that. Like, doing things that are almost trying to instill nostalgia for me in the second season from the first season is kind of like, and I just felt like they replayed a lot of the same things.
Right.
It was like, oh yeah, that's the same as what we did last season, almost literally what they're saying, and they did too much of that as well, like saying what we're seeing. I didn't need that line. You don't need to say, I'm gonna hand you this phone. You don't need to say that. You're doing it. Like it's that. And so yeah, I didn't really enjoy season 2 of Mandalorian that much. And then Boba Fett came out.
And I like Boba Fett. A lot of people didn't, but I like Boba Fett.
But it was just like, I don't know. I felt like it could have been a good show if they'd. I think if we'd seen the Boba Fett journey as a whole, and then seen the current day stuff, because keep going to and from was quite jarring, and we didn't get the emotional development and attachment to this new character, because it is a new character.
I will admit that I am on the same page with you. Well, once I got used to the we'll call it time jumps, it was fine. But initially, first watching it was jarring.
I just think we needed.
I will agree with that.
We needed more of a complete journey for us to know who this character now is, because they're relying on you liking Boba Fett because you're a fan of the old films, and the reality is this isn't that Boba Fett.
Yeah, well, exactly, and that's the thing, is that it does rely on already knowing the character,
and
for it to.
I enjoyed the backstory with him and the Sand People.
Very much.
Didn't really enjoy anything that was happening in current day, and it felt for me like it was just there to bring the Mandalorian back and give us the Mandalorian story, which was
Mhm.
that whole episode of Mandalorian, which was great, but it
Yeah.
wasn't the Boba Fett show. And it's like they knew that they couldn't fit that in the next season of Mandalorian, so they've
Mm.
used Boba Fett. And yeah, I just felt, I don't know, I felt cheated in a way.
Hmm.
Like it
I,
wasn't a
I,
complete
I,
show for me.
uh, I'll accept the little Mandalorian side quest in Boba Fett because at the very least they established a relationship between the characters throughout season 2 of Mandalorian.
Yeah,
If that hadn't happened, it would have been far more jarring to drop 2 episodes of Mandalorian into Boba Fett.
but I just don't think we'd get it the other way around. Like Boba Fett was in the Mandalorian, but if in the
Yeah,
Mandalorian when we saw Boba Fett again, they'd spent a whole episode showing you that Boba Fett's backstory,
yeah.
it would have been a bit like, hang on a minute, we're watching the Mandalorian, aren't
Mm,
we? I don't know. I just felt like it was too much. And then
yeah.
the cyberpunky people were like from a kids, like a teen show
Mm.
on
Right.
Disney. I don't know. There was a lot. There was a lot for me to hate in that TV show. I didn't enjoy it. The Mandalorian episode and the last episode, apart from some of the fighting and the stuff that
Mhm.
was happening, why people were running in certain directions and what was happening. Yeah, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I've just kind of lost hope with it all. And then Kenobi was better. I'll say that much.
Yeah, that's fine.
But yeah, I
No,
feel
I
like
get it.
I don't like them rely. I know you're Star Wars and you're this massive thing, but I don't want you to rely on being Star Wars to be
Yeah,
a good show.
yeah.
And
No, that makes. I agree with that
yeah,
100%.
and yeah, I don't know. I just
Because it feels like the various movies they did, like Rogue One and Solo and whatnot, depended on. Well, you like Star Wars, so here's some Star Wars, but it's
I would disagree with Rogue
great.
One because Rogue One for me is amazing because
Well, I was going to say that. What I want to say is that Solo is better than people give it credit for.
Solo was okay. Solo is a fine movie. Um,
The I I watched Rogue One twice, and I just didn't get into it. Like the first time, I really didn't get into it. The second time, a little bit more, but really not completely.
For me, Rogue One, right, so Jack's just put that Star Wars' biggest weakness has been its refusal to create new stories in a universe. They all have to
Yeah,
be interconnected.
yeah,
Okay.
bang on. Yeah.
Rogue One, for me, although it is that space between episode 4 and episode. No, wait. Episode 3 and episode 4. Um,
Yep.
and it's this vital point. It's not showing you any of the characters. It's not showing you, well, apart from a couple minors, it's not showing you like all of this storyline. We're getting like condensed story of new characters that you really like or that I really like, and it's just
Hmm.
kind of like no Jedi's. Here's just some people, doing their best in the world and trying to do some good stuff here. And I really enjoyed that because as much as cool as Jedi's are, I'd love to see a story that takes place in the Star Wars universe. It's just some randomers on a planet elsewhere doing whatever they're
Yeah.
doing, and we're still yet to have it. Um, because yeah, I think they are too scared. They're like, we can make movies that don't have anything to do with the Skywalkers and Darth Vader and
Hmm.
everything else that's happening.
Well, but that's the whole thing. It's like, why even bother? What'd you spend $4 billion on if you got this whole universe you could play with?
Yeah.
What are you doing, guys? But I also think that Yeah, just it's bad decision making at the top. The whole Star Wars thing has been kind of bungled. But
Yeah, it's
what
just
do you do?
one of those things where I like the idea of it. Same as Harry Potter. I like the idea of them and the world more than I like the actual uh, art that's been created from it
Yeah.
necessarily. I love the Harry Potter movies, but you know they're not necessarily actually the best things in the world. They're a bit cheesy. They're a bit whatever. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, and where it goes after that, I
Hmm.
feel like the story could go in a better direction than what it has. But
Right.
we'll see what
I
else
I
what
never
else
I,
we
ne-
get.
I never read the books. I watched the movies, at least the Harry Potter movies. These other Fantastic Beasts. I'm like, why?
The first Fantastic Beasts is fine because it's actually a film about the guy and the beasts, what it's meant to be about. But then in the
Yeah.
end, it plays into this whole thing with Grindelwald, and it then becomes this second film and this third film that I haven't watched now
Hmm.
about all of that. Like the second film, I watched it and I hated it. Not only because, so Colin Farrell's in the first film, who I love, and then at the end it
Hmm.
turns out that Colin Farrell is Johnny Depp, and I was infuriated because I didn't like Johnny Depp, right? I wasn't into Johnny Depp.
Yeah.
I'd grown tired of him from seeing him in everything, and I was just kind of he's just kind of the same now. He's not bringing anything new to the table. I feel like as an actor, I was just done with him. And this is pre everything that was whatever's happened in the last few years.
Yeah.
So I was infuriated. And then when the second film came out, and I'm like, oh yeah, there's Johnny Depp being Grindelwald, being Johnny Depp, you know, like, which is, I was like, Colin Farrell would have played this character so much better. And but the whole film, like Newt, who's the main character, is barely in it. Because in my eyes, I'm like, he's the main character. He should be the main character. He should be doing most of the stuff.
Right.
He's the one that I kind of like. He's cool and he's quirky and he's interested in these beasts and that's what it's all about. But no, it's not all about that. I haven't even watched the third one because it's been slated so badly. And it turns out
Right.
it's
Which
not a
is
trilogy. There's
which is
going to
too
be like
bad.
five of them.
I was gonna say the because Mads Mikkelsen he's a wonderful actor.
He's fantastic, yeah. So I imagine he's
Mhm.
brilliant in it. But apparently the movie's just absolutely awful.
Yeah.
Because they've taken a book
I mean,
that's, you know, this big and they're spreading it
yeah,
over like five films. Which is
yeah, because
fine if you can actually build
that
on it
worked
in
out
a
so
good
well for the
way.
Hobbit.
Oh my god, yeah, the Hobbit movies are so bad.
Yeah, yeah. Let's make this 2.5 hour long movies. Like, come on, use your head, guys.
Use your head. No, it's all about money.
Yeah,
But
unfortunately.
I feel like we should wrap up by saying the
Wrap it
Nevers
up.
is quite short and sweet. 6 episodes,
Yeah,
they've done what they need to do, they've got us to the point, and I'm excited for the second half. We're going to take a 2 week break and
2 weeks.
come back with episode 4.
And that'll put us at when is that going to put us at here? Just a second here.
So, do 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 do
So
do.
the 7th,
7th
August
of
7th.
August.
Yeah, and then we'll bust out 3 more, and then we'll talk to Matthew and figure out what we're doing next.
Yeah. Well, Matthew might be able to join us for.
Oh, excellent. Excellent. I hope so.
It would be cool to have the creator of the podcast join us.
Yeah,
for a discussion.
he's so quiet, not coming out from behind the scenes, but Matthew's made all this happen. So hopefully he'll join us, and if not, then all you Nevers podcast fans should at least send a wave and a thank you.
So all of these will be on YouTube. So yeah, that's a 2 week break for everybody to enjoy the first 3 episodes of our watch alongs.
Mm-hmm.
And we always do the 3, 2, 1 countdown, so you can actually watch along with our watch alongs.
That's right. Right.
Yeah. So
it was a pleasure as always, Laura.
Thank you, and thank you to your cat.
Yes. Well, this is the other one.
Oh, okay.
This is the tortoise shell, not the house lion. They're sweethearts.
yeah, 2 week break, and then we'll be back with more Nevers
Yeah.
watch-alongs. But
Looking
yes,
forward to
thank
it.
you for joining us, and we will see you all next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye.